Welcome back to the program. Now, on a recent episode of SmackDown, Vicky Guerrero dumped Eric Escobar. Now, while no one is worried about the career of Guerrero, the career of Escobar is definitely in question. So, Mark, will this spark a new beginning for Eric Escobar, or is this the beginning of the end?
I think I hear a trumpet playing taps right now because I'm pretty sure Escobar is done. You got to be kidding me. Why would they take this guy who, first of all, anyone who doesn't watch SmackDown or at all would go, Eric who?
Yeah.
I mean, now you say Vicky Guerrero, they go, oh, excuse me, excuse me. They know who that is. Escobar wasn't even around long enough to be a flash in the pan. For him to go solo without Vicky Guerrero, that's like Haku going away from Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's like, that's just, it's ridiculous. It's dumb.
They actually tried that and it didn't work.
Exactly.
Here's the thing about Eric Escobar. First, if you notice, he was removed from bragging rights, which was the start of the end right there. Taken off of television, so you didn't see him for a while. Even with Vicky Guerrero, you didn't see him. Now that he has split from Vicky Guerrero, this is definitely the beginning of the end for Eric Escobar. I can see them shifting him over to ECW maybe to finish out his career, but I suspect he's going to be gone before WrestleMania comes around.
Look, I got to tell you, in an era where the manager isn't as important as it has been in the past, when you have someone like Vicky Guerrero who can show up at a taping of SmackDown and with 2 words on the microphone before she even walks out onto the stage,
say it again.
Excuse me!
There we go.
As soon as she does that, she gets the biggest pop and the biggest response of anyone on the entire SmackDown roster. To not have her in your corner is a huge mistake.
Well, we will see what happens with Mr. Escobar. Can you say Escobar again?
Escobar.
I can't say it. Bobby Lashley continues to work in MMA and TNA. And some are questioning whether or not Lashley should do both. So, Mark, should Lashley be a 2-sport superstar or focus on one?
Well, as soon as you bring this up, I'm immediately taken back about 10 years ago, plus years ago, when you had, that first influx of MMA guys into professional wrestlings with your Ken Shamrocks, Dan the Beast Severn, all these guys coming in, Steve Blackman.
Yes.
And when they left MMA and came to professional wrestling, there were those out there that said, oh, they're leaving, the sport of fighting and they're going to something more theatrical.
Right.
Now, to have someone who's doing both would be very interesting because I can see both companies and both styles using the fact that they do the other one in storylines, in promotion, and things like that. I think that ultimately for TNA, it would be a great move. For Bobby Lashley, I don't know. That's debatable. It depends on how the fans react.
Yeah, and well, for me, I think that Lashley should concentrate on just one. I think if he perfects his craft in one area, he would be great. But to try and concentrate on wrestling at this point and then concentrate on mixed martial arts at another point, when you're involved in MMA, you need time to train. And that takes months for some people. You don't have time to go into a wrestling ring and worry about a storyline and putting a match together with this guy. And then you have an MMA fight coming up. He's not going to be ready. At some point, it's going to catch up to him, especially if officials from the UFC start looking at him.
Absolutely.
If UFC gets a hold of him, he won't have a choice. He's going to have to choose one or the other.
Look, the bottom line is, even though people, like to use throughout the whole term that, well, pro wrestling isn't real, these guys are putting their bodies on the line and they are getting hurt. The command of doing both on his body, that toll is going to be immense.
Well, we will see what decision Lashley will make in the future. Rey Mysterio returned recently at a house show in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, just weeks after filming the injury segment that would have removed Mysterio off television for a while. Now, this was done so that Mysterio could have his knee fixed, and he opted for the quick fix surgery. But Mark, should he have had the major surgery that would have kept him out for a year?
You know what? The unfortunate thing about this business is that without something like a union or anything like that, these guys don't have insurance. So they're not making money, they're not making disability. So in his mind, I can understand where he's coming from. He's saying, look, if I'm out for a year, that's a year's worth I'm not getting paid. He's got a family to feed, he's got to make money, and frankly, as great as Rey Mysterio is, he's been in this business a long time. the career of a professional wrestler, especially a high-flying lucha libre wrestler, a luchador, their careers aren't as long because they are putting their bodies on the line. They are hurting themselves all the time. This guy's already in the twilight of his career. He wants to work as much as he can before the end. So I understand where he's coming from and what he's doing.
This is where I would disagree with you, because I think that Rey Mysterio should take the long-term surgery and take off about a year. When you're a wrestler like Rey Mysterio, you rely on your legs. And a quick fix isn't going to help if you re-injure them and make it worse. Now, Rey has already had up to, I've heard, about 8 surgeries on his knees already. So I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but to do a quick fix, I think it's going to hurt him in the long run. Guys like Kurt Angle and others have opted for the quick fixes and then had more serious injuries that took them out for a longer period of time. I think he should have went for the long term, even though he's going to miss several major events, including WrestleMania, which I know he doesn't want to miss.
I agree with you. But, like I said, Rey Mysterio is at that point in his career where he knows he can't do it forever. He's got to do as much as he can.
Yeah. Well, something that seems to have lasted forever is the feud between D-Generation X and Hornswoggle, which has gone on for several months. Now, this leaves many to wonder just how long this feud will last. Mark, has it gone on too long?
Has the feud gone on too long? How about DX has gone on too long? And, Hunter and Shawn, I love you guys. I think you guys are hilarious every week. But DX is like, every week now they come out and it's not DX. It's Shawn and Hunter having fun, goofing around. These guys are, they're in their 40s and they're just kind of hanging out right now because they're making the money. Mm-hmm. But these guys, DX is not DX anymore. DX 13 years ago and this DX are completely different.
Well, here's the thing. And the same thing I said about John Cena, I'll say about DX. It's all about money. When you see DX, you see the DX glow sticks. You see the T-shirts. It's all about merchandising. And right now, those two are the kings of it. When you're making that much money, you have to question whether or not you want to take it away because of future storylines that you may want to do, or just keep it going. For them, they want to keep it going. Now, going back to them in Hornswoggle, yeah, I think it's gone on just a little too long. We're still waiting on what is this all about? Who's it going to help here? Because obviously Shawn and Hunter don't need it. What's it going to do for Hornswoggle when this thing is over and done with?
Look, Hornswoggle is a gimmick. That's all he is. He might as well be, what was that guy a couple years ago? The wrestler with the one leg?
Oh, Zach Gowen.
Yeah, that was it was a feel-good story. Mm-hmm. Who? Exactly. I couldn't even remember the guy's name. It's a flash in the pan. It's gone on long enough. Next, let's move on.
All right. Well, ever since the signing of Hulk Hogan to TNA, rumors have come out that TNA will sign men like Ric Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, Mark, should TNA sign Flair or Austin? And more importantly, would they sign with the company?
Well, Ric Flair, you are the greatest, sir. I love you, but come on, man. Got to give it up, buddy. It's been a long time. You can still get the pop from the crowd, but I would like to see him transition as more of like a commissioner role or on the announce team or something like that. I just don't think he's ring anymore. Stone Cold, I think Stone Cold's going to be focusing on his movie career right now. I don't think you'll see him in TNA. Not now, not ever.
Well, Mick Foley tried to do the same thing when he got into TNA, and look what happened to him. Less than 6 months later, he's wrestling on every single pay-per-view. I think if Flair goes back in that role, he's going to end up back in the ring. And, Flair, even though he's past 60, is still better than half the roster that's already there right now. I agree. So for me, being an old school fan, I wouldn't mind watching Ric Flair again.
Real quick. Flair and Hogan in the same building at the same time for an extended amount of time, no good can come from that.
We will take a break right now, but when we return, we will preview the upcoming TLC pay-per-view.